Welcome back, my fashionably challenged frequenters of the fourth dimension. I'm your quantum superposed host, and you're listening to the Multiverse Employee Handbook, the only podcast that treats your existential work crisis as the punchline it truly is. Today, we're diving into the fabric of space-time itself to answer the age-old question, does this parallel universe make me look fat? But before we unravel the mysteries of multidimensional menswear and cross-brain bustiers, let me regale you with a cautionary tale. Gather round, dear listeners, for the parable of the paradoxical pantsuit, also known as the Emperor's New Dimension. In a universe not so different from our own, well, actually infinitely different, but let's not split quantum hairs, there lived a fashionista named Vera Vector. Vera was the kind of trendsetter who considered last season's fashion to be positively Jurassic. Her motto? If your outfit doesn't violate at least 3 laws of physics, why even get dressed? One day, after flipping through the latest issue of Vogue Superstring Theory edition, Vera had an epiphany. Why limit myself to 3 paltry dimensions, she mused to her reflection, which nodded enthusiastically before remembering it was supposed to be mimicking her. Fashion should transcend not just time, but space itself. And so, with the reckless abandon of someone who'd watched The Devil Wears Prada one too many times while under the influence of quantum uncertainty, Vera set out to create the ultimate power suit, one that would exist in all dimensions simultaneously. Armed with nothing but a bedazzled sewing machine, a copy of Quantum Mechanics for Dummies, and an ego that could warp space-time, Vera began her work. She calculated the Planck length of her inseam, factored in the curvature of space caused by her fabulous gravitational pull, and with a flourish that would make any mad scientist-turned-Project Runway contestant proud,
oh yes,
she created nothing. Well, not exactly nothing. She created everything. A suit that existed in all dimensions at once. The only problem? In our humble 3-dimensional realm, the suit was completely invisible. Eureka! Vera shouted before remembering that Eureka moments were so 3rd century BCE. I mean, slay! She admired her invisible reflection, took a deep breath, and stepped out to showcase her creation to the world. Now, dear listeners, if you've ever had the misfortune of being trapped in a lift with someone wearing too much cologne, you know that sometimes less is not more. Well, multidimensional fashion is like that, but with more public indecency laws and fewer excuses about forgetting to do laundry. Vera strutted down the street, reveling in the gasps and stares from passers-by. They're in awe of my fashion-forward thinking, she thought, blissfully unaware that from everyone else's perspective, she looked like she'd forgotten to get dressed after her shower. The true test came when Vera arrived at her office for an important presentation to the board of directors. She stood proudly before them, ready to dazzle with both her innovative designs and her PowerPoint skills. But just as she was about to begin, disaster struck. In her excitement, Vera had forgotten the first rule of multidimensional tailoring: always account for unexpected phase shifts. Mid-presentation, she felt a strange tingling sensation. Suddenly, her suit decided to manifest itself in a dimension where clothing is worn inside out. Neckties are sentient, and pants are considered a form of currency. As Vera stood there, her outfit now visible but utterly incomprehensible to 3-dimensional beings, she realized the true meaning of dress for the job you want, not the job you have. It's not about transcending dimensions, but about making sure you're appropriately covered in the dimension you're currently occupying. The moral of the story, my dear interdimensional interns: sometimes the most impressive outfit is the one you can actually see. Sure, you might not be turning heads in the 11th dimension, but At least you won't be turning stomachs in this one. And so, as we close the quantum closet on the Emperor's new dimensions, remember, in the vast multiversal runway of existence, we're all just trying to avoid a wardrobe malfunction. So let's be kind to our fellow fashionistas, shall we? After all, in some dimension, that person wearing Crocs with socks is the arbiter of all things chic. Now, let's take a brief pause to contemplate the existential implications of casual Fridays in a universe where time is a flat circle. When we return, Quantum Couture, how to dress for success when success is a superposition of states. Stay tuned and remember, keep your shirts ironed and your wave functions collapsed. Welcome back, my sartorially perplexed protons. I'm your Heisenberg uncertainty principle of a host, and we're diving deeper into the wardrobe of wave functions that is quantum couture, dressing for multiple states of being. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the electron cloud in the closet. How does one choose an outfit when existing in multiple states simultaneously? It's a question that would have made Erwin Schrödinger's head spin faster than a positron in a cyclotron back in 1935, when he proposed his famous thought experiment. Enter Schrödinger's closet, where every garment is simultaneously fashion-forward and a fashion faux pas until you observe it. It's the ultimate solution for dressing for both success and failure at the same time. Remember, in the quantum realm, it's not about hedging your bets. It's about superposing them. But wait, there's more. For the discerning multidimensional fashionista, we simply must discuss quantum entangled accessories. First theorized by Albert Einstein, Boris Podolsky, and Nathan Rosen in 1935, though Einstein dismissively called it spooky action at a distance. Quantum entanglement is the hottest trend in accessorizing across light years. Imagine, if you will, a pair of cufflinks that always match, no matter which parallel universe you're in, or a tie that always complements your shirt, even when you can't decide what color it is. It's not just fashion, darlings. It's fashion at the speed of light. Now, let's talk about the latest craze sweeping the multiversal runways, Klein bottle couture. First described by Felix Klein in 1882, these non-orientable surfaces are the ultimate statement piece for the four-dimensional fashionista. Why settle for a boring old inside and outside when your garment can be a continuous surface of pure topological chic? What's a Klein bottle, you ask? And no, it has nothing to do with Calvin. Imagine a bottle so bizarre that it has no inside or outside, where the neck passes through its side to connect with the bottom. This mind-bending object is called a Klein bottle, named after the German mathematician Felix Klein, who first described it in 1882. A Klein bottle is a non-orientable surface, meaning it has only one side and one edge, despite seeming to have an inside and outside. It's like a three-dimensional version of the famous Möbius strip, but even more perplexing. To visualize it, start with a cylinder. Stretch one end, loop it around, and pass it through the side of the cylinder to connect with the other end. In our three-dimensional world, this self-intersection is impossible without the bottle passing through itself, which is why true Klein bottles only exist in 4 or more dimensions. Klein bottles challenge our perception of space and have fascinated mathematicians, artists, and science enthusiasts for over a century. While they can't hold your favorite beverage, Klein bottles serve as powerful tools in topology, the mathematical study of geometric properties that remain unchanged by continuous deformations. They remind us that the universe might be stranger and more interconnected than we can easily perceive or imagine. Picture this. You're at the interdimensional water cooler, casually sipping your quantum-stabilized coffee, when suddenly your Klein bottle blazer catches everyone's eye. "How does it do that?" they'll gasp as they try to follow the impossible contours of your outfit. You'll simply smile and say, "Oh, this old thing, it's just a little number I picked up in the fourth dimension." But the benefits of Klein bottle fashion go beyond mere aesthetics. Need to carry a few extra items to work? No problem. With a Klein bottle suit, you've got an infinite amount of storage space that takes up no space at all. It's perfect for the employee who needs to bring their entire home office to work, but still wants to travel light. Of course, we can't discuss multidimensional fashion without addressing the elephant in the room, or should I say, the hypercube in the hypercloset. Dealing with workplace dress codes across conflicting realities can be trickier than explaining string theory to a cat. In one universe, it's casual Friday. In another, it's formal Monday. And in yet another, clothing hasn't been invented yet. What's a multidimensional professional to do? The solution, my dear listeners, is simple. Quantum superposition, my dear Watson. By existing in a superposition of dress states, you can simultaneously adhere to every possible dress code. It's not indecision, it's multiversal compliance. Just remember to collapse your wave function before any important meetings. There's nothing more embarrassing than addressing the board of directors while accidentally manifesting your lounging in the thermonuclear core of a sun outfit. As we wrap up this segment on quantum couture, remember the wise words of the great Richard Feynman, who in 1965 said, "I think I can safely say that nobody understands quantum mechanics." Well, darlings, after this episode, you might not understand quantum mechanics, but at least you'll look fabulous while being confused. Stay tuned for our next segment, where we'll navigate the treacherous waters of non-Euclidean fashion. Learn why wearing plaid in a Möbius strip workspace is always a bad idea, and discover the dangers of fractal patterns near quantum observers. Remember, in the world of multidimensional fashion, you're not just dressing for success, you're dressing for every possible definition of success across the multiverse. Welcome back, my non-orientable novelty seekers. I'm your Calabe Yao manifold of a moderator, and we're about to embark on a journey through the topsy-turvy world of non-Euclidean fashion. Buckle up your hyperbolic seatbelts. It's going to be a geometrically perplexing ride. First things first, navigating the treacherous waters of hyperbolic hemlines and elliptic necklines. Ever since Janos Bolyai and Nikolai Lobachevsky independently discovered non-Euclidean geometry in the 1820s, fashionistas across the multiverse have been grappling with the question, does this hyperbolic plane make my asymptotes look big? The key, my dear listeners, is understanding the importance of proper tesseract folding techniques for your higher dimensional wardrobe. Much like how Charles Howard Hinton coined the term tesseract in 1888 to describe a four-dimensional analog of a cube, you too can cube your style by mastering the art of folding your clothes through the fourth dimension. Remember, it's not just about saving space in your closet. It's about bending space itself to accommodate your fabulous wardrobe. But beware, interdimensional trendsetters. There are some fashion faux pas that even the most daring quantum couturiers should avoid. Let's start with the cardinal rule. Never ever wear plaid in a Möbius strip workspace. August Ferdinand Möbius may not have been thinking about fashion when he discovered his famous strip in 1858. But trust me, if he'd seen the visual chaos of plaid on a single-sided surface, he might have stuck to solid colors.
Wait, what?
I'm seeing some blank mind stares. All right, gather round, you dimensionally challenged denizens. Let's take a moment to explain what should be obvious to any being with half a tesseract of sense. A Möbius strip, discovered by that show-off August Ferdinand Möbius in 1858, is a surface with only one side and one boundary. Imagine a strip of paper. Now, give it a half-twist and join the ends. Voila! You've got a Möbius strip. Run your finger along it and you'll traverse both sides without ever crossing an edge. It's a topological marvel that makes most mortal minds melt. There. Happy now? Can we please get back to the fascinating world of non-Euclidean neckties? Speaking of visual chaos, let's talk about the dangers of wearing fractal patterns near quantum observers. Benoit Mandelbrot might have unleashed fractal geometry upon the world in 1975, but he never had to deal with the fallout of wearing a Mandelbrot set tie to a quantum physics conference. 1 minute you're sipping interdimensional punch, the next you're causing a cascade of wave function collapses that rewrite the very fabric of the universe. And trust me, I accidentally erased an entire timeline is not an excuse your boss wants to hear on Monday morning. But fear not, my fashionably perplexed friends. We have an expert on hand to guide us through these non-Euclidean style dilemmas. Please welcome renowned multidimensional fashion designer Coco Cosmos.
Hello?
Coco, darling, thank you for joining us. Tell me, how does one accessorize with exotic matter without causing a localized vacuum decay?
Oh, sweetie, it's all about balance. You want to pair your exotic matter accessories with some nice, stable baryonic matter. I always say, for every quantum necklace, there should be a classic black hole clutch. It's like Dirac and anti-Dirac. They annihilate beautifully.
Fascinating. And what about using wormholes to create the ultimate walk-in closet? Any tips for our listeners?
Absolutely. Ever since Kip Thorne and his colleagues proposed traversable wormholes in 1988, I've been using them to revolutionize storage solutions. The trick is to anchor one end of your wormhole in a nice, stable region of space-time. You don't want to open your closet and find that your favorite power suit has aged a few billion years.
Words of wisdom, indeed. Thank you, Coco Cosmos. And remember, listeners, in the world of non-Euclidean fashion, there's no such thing as a bad angle. Only angles that haven't been discovered by mathematicians yet. As we wrap up our foray into the world of hyperbolic haute couture, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer absurdity of our multidimensional existence. We live in a universe where, according to Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation proposed in 1957, every fashion choice you make spawns an alternate reality. Somewhere out there, there's a version of you rocking that neon spandex unitard with the confidence of 1,000 quasars. So the next time you're standing in front of your interdimensional mirror, paralyzed by the infinite possibilities of your wardrobe, remember, in an infinite multiverse, you're always the best-dressed version of yourself somewhere. It's quantum chic, darling. Don't question it, just work it. Stay tuned for our final segment where we'll tackle the age-old question: Schrödinger's tie, to clip on or not to clip on. Until then, keep your eigenstates fabulous and your superposition superb. Welcome back, my probabilistically perplexed peons. I'm your wave function collapsed raconteur, and we've reached the final frontier of our multidimensional fashion voyage. It's time to tackle the question that's been tying theoretical physicists in knots since Erwin Schrödinger first proposed his famous thought experiment in 1935. Schrödinger's tie, to clip on or not to clip on? Now, before you accuse me of making a mountain out of a quantum molehill, consider this. In a universe where your very existence is a superposition of states, your neckwear choices have cosmic implications. We're not just talking about whether you'll impress Janice from accounting.
Hello there.
We're talking about the fate of entire timelines hanging by a literal thread. Let's start with the basics. The quantum superposition of neckwear. Much like Schrödinger's unfortunate feline, your tie exists in a state of both clipped and not clipped until observed. This leads to the fascinating phenomenon of quantum formal wear entanglement, first inadvertently discovered by Richard Feynman in 1965, when he showed up to accept his Nobel Prize wearing a bow tie that was simultaneously tied and untied. But wait, there's more! The observer effect on your outfit is not to be underestimated. As demonstrated by Werner Heisenberg's uncertainty principle in 1927, the mere act of observing your tie determines its state. One moment you're sporting a dashing Windsor knot, the next you're strangling yourself with a clip-on. It's not indecision, it's physics. Now I know what you're thinking, but how can I maintain a professional appearance across multiple realities? Fear not, my fashionably challenged friends. I have a few practical tips to help you navigate the treacherous waters of quantum couture. First and foremost, master the art of the quantum quick change. This technique, pioneered by the great Paul Dirac in 1928, when he predicted the existence of antimatter, allows you to switch between formal and casual wear faster than you can say positron. Simply create a superposition of outfit states and collapse your wave function as needed. Board meeting in one reality, beach party in another, no problem. Secondly, always carry a pocket universe for fashion emergencies. This little trick, inspired by Hugh Everett's Many Worlds interpretation from 1957, ensures you're prepared for any sartorial situation. Infinite realities mean infinite wardrobe malfunctions, but with a pocket universe, you'll always have a spare pair of non-Euclidean socks at hand. But let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the quantum anomaly in the wardrobe. How do you choose between a regular tie and a clip-on when the very act of choosing splits the timeline? Well, my interdimensional fashionistas, the answer is simple. You don't. Embrace the uncertainty. Channel your inner Max Born, who introduced the probabilistic interpretation of quantum mechanics in 1926, and strut into that office wearing a tie that exists in all states simultaneously. Are you wearing a clip-on, a Windsor knot, a bow tie? Yes, yes, and yes! Remember, in the grand tapestry of the multiverse, your fashion choices ripple across dimensions. That clip-on you're considering, in one reality, it saves you from being sucked into the office paper shredder. In another, it costs you the promotion of a lifetime. And in yet another, it's elected president of a small banana republic. As we wrap up this episode on multidimensional fashion, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer absurdity of our sartorial situation. We live in a universe where, according to the holographic principle proposed by Gerard 't Hooft in 1993, our entire reality might be a projection from a two-dimensional surface, which begs the question, are we really getting dressed, or are we just elaborate screensavers? So the next time you're standing in front of your quantum mirror, paralyzed by the infinite possibilities of your wardrobe, remember the wise words of Niels Bohr, who in 1927 said, "If quantum mechanics hasn't profoundly shocked you, you haven't understood it yet."
Whoa.
Well, my dear listeners, I hope this episode has left you both profoundly shocked and impeccably dressed. And with that, we close the interdimensional closet door on another episode of The Multiverse Employee Handbook. Remember, in the vast cosmic runway of existence, you're not just a fashion statement, you're an entire fashion universe. So work it, own it, and for the love of all that's quantum, please remember to collapse your wave function before leaving the house. Stay tuned for our next episode, Interdimensional Health and Safety, where we'll dive into the critical issues facing the multiversal workplace. Learn the proper handling of antimatter in the office microwave, Spoiler, it's not just about avoiding sparks. And master emergency procedures for those pesky spontaneous dimension shifts. We'll also feature a special mental health segment on coping with the existential dread of infinite possibilities. After all, in a universe of endless options, sometimes choosing what to have for lunch can trigger a full-blown existential crisis. Until then, keep your eigenstates stylish, your superposition superb, and your antimatter safely contained.
Hello, this is Isabel from Nantes in France. The Multiverse Employee Handbook was created by Rob Corrigan, is edited by Matt Parkman, and narrated by David from 11 Labs. All science fact-checking is done by Mohinder Suresh. The Employee Handbook staff includes Claire Bennett, Hiro Nakamura, and Elle Bishop. Please be sure to subscribe to get updates on new episodes.